Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Gigawatts. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we talk about movies on this show. This is about new movies, this show, and this episode is another kind of Oscar movie catch-up session. We're going to talk about The Post, which is the Steven Spielberg movie about the Washington Post kind of taking on the president, which may or may not be relevant in the current climate. That's what we're going to talk about. We will start spoiler-free. Although it's kind of weird because it's a true story, and like, you know, it's just, I mean, the outcome is at least relatively well known. I would imagine so.
And even if you don't know it, you can kind of guess it because, well, you know where you are now.
Exactly. So, but hey, we'll keep it spoiler free for as much as we can, and then we'll warn you about spoilers and we'll go into it. And let's go. So this is a Steven Spielberg movie, of course, who, at least personally speaking, has been in a bit of a rut for me for a while.
That's fair. I'm trying to remember what the last film from him I really liked was. I'm not sure, to be honest. It probably has been a while.
Because there's some stuff he did in the 2000s which I think was enjoyable. I mean, I enjoyed Catch Me If You Can. I thought Terminal was okay. I don't love Minority Report for whatever reason, even though that feels like it should speak to me in all my sensibilities. For whatever reason, I just don't love it. Honestly, for a Spielberg movie that I really love, I'm going back to the 90s.
Do you know what? I think I am too.
Yeah, he's not wowed me in a long time.
Like Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, that kind of.
Yeah, Jurassic Park's probably the one I'd go back to.
They're back to back. I like both of those a lot. But recently,
I like
Bridge of Spies, I thought was really mediocre.
Yeah, Schindler's List is a great movie, of course, but it's not necessarily one that I want to revisit that much because it's Schindler's List.
That's true. You don't want to watch that every year.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's Christmas, put on Schindler's List. I'm in the mood.
But it's undoubtedly a great movie.
Yeah. So, you know, and I never saw Bridge of Spies. Like, I actively avoided that one, and
you didn't miss much.
I did see Lincoln, and it was one of the most boring, dull times I have ever had.
I didn't see Lincoln. I thought about watching Warhorse, because that's based on the Malcolm Opogo book, which I liked, but then I just didn't.
Yeah, I didn't see Warhorse because it looked like it was going to just punish me like Lincoln did. If that was after it, I don't know which one came first. Either way,
that was before Lincoln.
Okay, so I avoided that because it just didn't look like I was going to enjoy it, and then I did end up getting dragged to see Lincoln, and I was just kind of like waiting for, you know, I was just hoping for him to get shot so I could go home. Was basically my feeling.
BFG's okay. It's nothing special though.
Yeah, like it didn't look bad, but it was just like nothing about it elicited excitement out of me. So The Post. So I'm going to need some context to my Spielberg mood going into The Post, and getting into The Post, I expected something that was kind of dry but sentimental, probably completely serviceable, if not reliable in terms of filmmaking, but not necessarily anything special or kind of like, you know, just worth singing about or, you know, praising to the high heavens. And I kind of got exactly what I expected, I guess is what I'm saying.
That's fair. I think everything you said is accurate and true. It's dry, it's sentimental, but I think I liked it more than you did.
You probably did. I think it's solid. This is what it's supposed to do very well. I think there's maybe a little bit of pacing issues early on. There's maybe a little too dry. Once the sort of the chase is on for the story, if you will, it picks up considerably. I think the first like half hour, and it does some good character stuff there, which is essential for the character arcs later on. Yeah. It's just, you know, it's a little bit. There's a scene earlier on where Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep are at lunch, and I'm just like, this scene is just like. Come in, we ready to move here, Spielberg?
A real problem that I have with this film that stops it being like a movie I should love is they keep. So this is, you know, the Washington Post. This is their story, and they keep talking about the New York Times. And the thing is, that sounds like a more interesting movie. Their story, that what they're doing, that sounds like the movie I want to be watching instead.
No, yeah, because they actually get all they get all the information first.
They're the one getting all the scoops. They're the one getting doing all the exciting stuff. I'm like, that's the movie I want to watch.
Yeah, because you kind of, because the Post was a much smaller paper at the time, and like they made a big deal about standing up to them. Like obviously, the New York Times were already kind of fighting just because they'd already published things, and the Post stand up anyway and do it and defy the regime. Because freedom of the press, they have to be held accountable. All the themes you think you're going to play with, and that's all kind of there. Obviously, the cast is good. Like, that kind of goes without saying. There's a lot of fishes that I didn't know about though before I watched it. Like Bob Odenkirk's in there. Saul from Better Call Saul.
I knew he was in it because he's in the trailers. It was the smaller ones like Carrie Coon, who I had no idea was in the movie.
Carrie Coon, who I didn't even recognise at first. It wasn't until she spoke, because she's got like a 60s haircut or 70s haircut on. And it's like, oh, that's Carrie Coon. It wasn't until she spoke I was like, oh, that's her. And I almost feel like that's just too much smaller role for her. She's much better than just this. I feel
Alison Brie's in a small role as well.
Yeah, and I like Alison Brie. She's in a small role.
This just feels like, hey, we're going to stuff this with people you know.
Yeah, Fat Damon, aka Jesse Plemons, is in there. He's not actually that fat anymore, but that's what I think
it's stuck, hasn't it?
Yeah, from Fargo. That's what I called him in Fargo, and now that's just kind of stuck. Bradley Whitford's in there. He's good. I am going to say something potentially. This is potentially a hot take. I don't know how much of a hot take it is to you, but this is a hot take to someone.
I'm scared because straight in the glasses.
I don't know why Meryl Streep's been nominated like 50 million times.
Oh my god! I thought it was just going to be me.
I don't like. She's fine. Like, I don't think she's bad. Like, she's good.
She's perfectly good. Like, she's still good, but she's not the best of the year, is she?
I don't know why this is a performance that's nominated. I don't. It legitimately feels like the obligatory. Oh, Meryl Streep's in a movie. She must get a nomination. That's what it feels like.
Pretty much. Like she is good. Like, I feel like we're sounding annoyed at it because it's like, oh, she doesn't deserve that. And I don't think she deserves Best Actress nomination.
No, really not for this. Honestly, if anything, it's more like supporting, because an ensemble. No one's really the lead.
No, I mean, she's the emotional through line, which I guess builds her as the lead.
But it's more of an ensemble in that. Obviously, her and Hanks get the most, but it's not by no means like just them.
No, which the trailer would indicate they're the main one, like by far though.
It does, yeah. It's much more. I wouldn't say even, but it's definitely more spread out than that.
It is after the first half hour.
Yeah. So that's not to criticise her role, but I feel like Meryl Streep in a movie like this that's based on something from history just screams Oscar bait to me, and it kind of is Oscar bait. I don't think you can dispute that.
Oh no, I don't think I can, and I like a lot of movies that are undeniably Oscar bait.
Oh yeah, Oscar bait does not necessarily mean bad. That is not the case. It's not the case here. It's not a bad movie, but it does have that Oscar baity dryness to it. And I feel like Meryl Streep is the living embodiment of that.
She is. She really is.
And I don't know what it is, but for some reason, she's been the same age for about 30 years. She keeps playing these roles. And this is her doing her thing.
I don't think this is as bad as the one that she got nominated for last year.
What was she nominated for last year?
Oh, I can't remember. Something Foster Jenkins, I don't know. I can't remember the name of it, but I've watched it because the girlfriend watched it, and it was like, really? This got a Best Actress nomination?
All I'm thinking is Patty Jenkins, and it's not that.
I'm going to find the name of this movie because it's going to annoy me. Just 1 second.
Yeah. That's fine.
There we go. Florence Foster Jenkins. So it was both of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've heard of this.
It was worse than this.
It's just that's what she's in. Meryl Streep does Oscar bait. That is her career.
Yes.
It is strange. It's such a strange path, but hey ho. So it is pretty dry at times. Once the hunt gets on, and they're kind of trying to chase down the source, so they can also have this report that was stolen, that was leaked out of it was like a report on Vietnam. That's what the whole thing's kind of revolving around, is the idea that the government lied to the public about Vietnam, but not just Nixon. Like the government's been lying about Vietnam for throughout multiple administrations.
It was across 3 administrations.
Yeah. And how like they basically knew this was unwinnable for X amount of time, and this was all about just trying not to be humiliated. America lost the war. Like that's the whole thing. Yeah. And it's like, how many people have died because of that? And it's like, I think at one point in the movie they mentioned the percentage of soldiers that didn't need to die, and it was like 70%. Like,
it was a lot of people. Yeah.
So like it's doing all these things. I knew some stuff about this era and this history. I did a lot of Vietnam related stuff in school. Like, we studied the Cold War and all the things that kind of went on as and tangential to that. Didn't focus so much on the press side of it at home, outside of the just the broad idea that this was the first big war where, because of mainstream media, people knew more about it and therefore had an opinion on it and were against it. It was protested against, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I never covered Vietnam in school at all. Everything I know has been picked up from other media since.
Yeah, the war at home, it was referred to as, because it was the first one where you had actual news footage of the atrocities that were happening and people questioning, hey, should we actually be fighting this? Is this actually worth the lives and the time and everything else?
Yeah.
So, do you know what's actually funny is I was actually thinking very early on, realising this was like Nixon before Watergate, that I was like, is this essentially a prequel to All the President's Men then? And I have to laugh because the ending kind of does lead into that. And I'm like, man, this is actually a prequel. Like, 40 years later, they made a prequel to All the President's Men. And I started laughing as the movie was done because of that. But, hey.
That's fair, yeah. So, mention a positive, something I like a lot.
Now, go on.
Is the fantastically subtle John Williams score.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's excellent. It always really moves the movie along in every scene that it's where it's doing something. It really plays the scene perfectly. Yeah,
no, it's fine. It kind of, it's not necessarily the type of score that I typically have much to say about. I'm knocking things over. It's kind of like it almost, and this is weird because if I went into like an adventure movie and I got like an adventure score and I thought it was really good, I'd be praising the adventure score because it sounds like a good adventure score. Whereas here's like, no, this is exactly the sort of score that I'd expect this type of movie to have.
That's fair, yeah.
And I don't really mean that as a criticism, just as so much as that I don't find it exciting because it is just kind of the.
No, that's true.
But hey,
yeah, I think of course we're mentioning this in Oscar season. It's hard not to compare it to Spotlight as well, which obviously dealt with very similar ideas.
Yeah, in terms of like how this is reporters going about their job and like taking the risk to publish something that might get a bit of backlash. Yeah. And
funnily, I did notice one of the writers of this was one of the writers on Spotlight. So clearly that guy is just carving out a niche for himself.
He's got a template. He just fills in the names and what the story is.
Okay, I've got a template. What historical event can I fill it with this time?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there'll be more. Hell, I mean, just think of the last like 6 months with the Hollywood and Me Too.
That's coming.
That is a movie in a few years' time. I guarantee that's happening.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Honestly, it's kind of a weird movie to talk about because it's not one that I'm passionate about. But I don't have a whole lot of bad things to say about, beyond kind of what I've said, where it's a bit dry, it's a bit slow at times. Like, everyone's very dependable, and it is sentimental. And it very much focuses on the idea of, obviously, it explores a little bit of sexism. At the start of the movie, Meryl Streep goes to this meeting with all because the company's going public, the newspaper is going public. And she's there, and she's got points to make. And the men basically don't let her speak. And then the one chance she does get to speak, she kind of chickens out a little bit. She feels a little bit too nervous.
She chokes, don't she?
Yeah. And so obviously, the arc of the movie for her, which, like you say, is kind of the emotional through line, is her eventually getting that courage to like make a stand and actually believe in something. Yeah, because all throughout the movie, she's like, cause she's friends with McNamara. She's friends with him. She doesn't want to like be smirched through the administration. And it's Tom Hanks who's like, no, they have to be held accountable. They have to do this. And even he questions that he maybe let things slide when he was like friends with Kennedy.
Yeah, exactly. And they tell us
previously.
That she's the first female owner of a newspaper.
Publisher. She's the first female publisher. Yeah.
So this is completely new for them in the industry.
Yeah.
Which is why they're like overlooking her so much.
Yeah. Which is interesting because Tom Hanks' character never actually treats her differently. Like, at all. Like,
because he's Tom Hanks.
Yeah, everyone else does. He does not. But hey, that makes him kind of likeable, even though he's kind of a dick to his staff a lot of the time.
he rides them hard, yeah.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. He's always complaining. Like, he almost like, okay, he could be Perry White if he wants to be. He's at the age now.
He's a newspaper editor, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he can do that now. Why not? So Yeah, it's got a lot of that thing where there's a lot of phone calls to various people. There's a lot of like chasing up little leads and like trying to get things, and it's a lot of the nitty gritty. Some of which you take in, some of which you don't. But ultimately, the emotional core of the film is making the choice to run it, even though at the time they choose to do so, the New York Times has already been sued by the administration.
Yes.
And it's like, do we make the choice to run this anyway? And of course, it has this knock-on effect where, and I guess we're getting kind of into spoiler territory now if you want to consider the stuff in it spoilers, even though it's a true story. So, yeah. Spoilers from here on out. It kind of like elicits this little reaction where every other newspaper in the country basically starts to run it as well.
They're like, hey, if they're doing it, we'll do it.
Yeah, so as Bob Odenkirk puts it, he always wanted to be part of a small rebellion, and it's like every newspaper starts running it. Because it's like, yeah, if we all do it and we all make a stand and say, hey, like, you can't bully
what
us. Yeah. So, no, obviously there's parallels to today and Trump and everything he's pulling, and, you know, there's even, like, you hear Nixon at one point say, like, oh, they're never to be invited to the White House again, like, they're never to be anywhere, you know, the post is barred from everything. So you get in these parallels, and it's worth mentioning, of course, how they shoot Nixon. You never see him face on. He's always just through the window of the White House in silhouette.
Yes.
And as you mentioned to me before we started, it's actual real tapes of the audio.
Yeah, because they've got all those now, so why not?
Yeah, true. Yeah, so no, that's fun. And again, it's very poignant because it is very seen in reality. And since we're in spoilers, I'll mention at the end, it actually ends with Watergate happening. Like the whole, he's trying to, like, you know, cover up his tracks. I thought that was
a bit on the nose.
Yeah. It kind of is, but at the same time, it does lead straight into it. In terms of history, that is the next part.
Yeah, it is.
This is the next part of that story.
It is, but I didn't need it set up in this movie. I know what's coming next.
I can't remember what paper the characters from All the President's Men were in. I almost wish they did the whole C.G. Young, Dustin Hoffman, and Robert Redford. Give them a cameo.
I don't know if I'd have liked it more or hated it more if that had happened.
Just give them a little cameo to set up that they're around, because they're going to be dealing with the next thing.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
With Deep Throat and all the rest of it. I feel like that could have been something we did. Oh, dear. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is one where the current climate makes it more interesting, I think, as well. Because I know Spielberg mentioned how they kind of turned this around a lot quicker than they were supposed to. You know, well, not that they were supposed to, because the idea of this kind of came about because of the situation.
Oh yeah, of course.
It now. The script was lying around.
I have no idea that this only get made right now because it was something.
Yeah, they basically went, right, let's get this done as quick as possible while it's relevant.
Yeah. It's an impressive turnaround, but I guess that's what happens when you have a cast of veterans. You've got you know, a veteran director who's, you know, done so many movies at this point. He's working with regulars. You know, him and Tom Hanks have made how many movies at this point?
They know each other well enough to know exactly what the other wants.
And it's not a big effects movie. Obviously, there'll be some effects in the streets to, like, you know, sell it to the time period, but like it's, you know, it's mostly in newspaper offices and in houses. Like given the size of the cast and whatnot, this is probably quite a quick shoot, I imagine, compared to.
Yeah, I think from start to release, when they start shooting to release, it's like 6 months total, which is pretty quick. Given that you've got to line these people's schedules up as well. Which
explains, to an extent. Although, to be fair, like, a lot of the time they're not in the same scenes together, so you could, you know.
Yeah, no, that's true.
For example, Alison Brie is only ever in scenes with Meryl Streep and maybe like some of the other family members. Like, she's never in a scene with anyone else. So Alison Brie, you need for maybe 3 days.
It's the back half of the movie where they're all in the rooms together. They're all in the house going through the papers and stuff like that. That's where you need people's schedules.
Yeah, but even then, that's not the whole cast. That's like...
No, it's a good handful, though.
Yeah. But, you know, it makes it simpler when you think about it that way, when you think about the logistics where, they don't actually need X, Y, and Z for that. They just need this core batch. So...
Yeah. I will say, I like the comic relief of the daughter with the selling the lemonade.
Oh, well, they're all in the house. So basically, just to explain this, they're all at Tom Hanks' house because they don't want the rest of the office to know they've got these papers, and all the papers are unnumbered, so they have to, like, sort through all the pages to, you know, get them in order so they can actually read it properly. So they're basically just the core team of maybe like 8 people who they all trust, and they're all just trying to sort through all the documents. But during all this, Tom Hanks' daughter is selling her lemonade, and my favourite moment of it is because she's selling lemonade outside. She comes in and says, "Hey, does anyone want lemonade?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, how much?" She's like, 50 cents. And then Tom Hanks turns around and goes, "No, it's $1 now."
Inflation.
So yeah. So at the end of the night, you see that she's made like a wad of cash from
Great.
selling lemonade.
Yeah, it was cracking me up. Other things I like, it's mostly the direction's very standard for this stuff. It's very competent, obviously.
Like, you know, obviously Spielberg knows what he's doing, but there's also nothing that stands out and makes me go, "Oh, that was flashy," or it did.
Yeah, very rarely. The only things of style that I really liked in terms of, oh no, that stood out to me, is when they're actually using the printing press machines.
Yeah.
Like those sequences when they boot that up, they're cutting all the metals and they're firing up and printing the papers themselves. I thought those sequences had style to them.
Yeah. I'd actually be very interested to see the process of making the metal plates. Like, how long does that take? Like, how much did they get to reuse from previous? Like, because it's not individual letters; they have like big plates of the titles and stuff.
They do, and they've got the template, and they're just slotting them all in.
Yeah.
Fascinating, wasn't it?
There's a fun jigsaw puzzle quality to to the plates that I kind of like. But hey, whatever. But yeah, what was getting me is like when they were delivering the newspapers and they were throwing the bundles out to the newsstands. Like sometimes we throw them into puddles, and I'm like, you've just ruined like the bottom half of that stack.
Yeah, probably. But hey, they're paid for anyway, right?
Well, yeah, but why?
The vendors pay in advance, surely.
Well, yeah, but like I'd be pissed if it was the vendor. You just ruined half my stock.
No, it's true. Vendor should complain.
But hey, so that's the thing. Yeah, it's all about the courage of like standing up and doing it anyway. And obviously it gets ruled in their favour at the end of the movie, and we have the sentimental moment. Which is the thing, it's very sentimental, which is very Spielberg. It's one of those things where it's fine on a watch. I doubt I'll ever watch it again. It's one of these things where some people love Saving Private Ryan, and I think it's a solid, good movie. But that movie is so sentimental by the end.
That movie.
What?
I don't like that movie.
You don't even like it? Oh, there you go.
I watched it once, and I will never watch it again.
I thought I would, and then I've not since. Like I've never felt in the mood to watch Saving Private Ryan again. So hey. Yeah, so that's kind of the post. I don't have a whole lot of like in-depth things to say about it because it's a very, as we say, just
it's kind of by the numbers to a point, but it's very well done by the numbers.
Yeah, under no circumstances do I think this deserves Best Picture.
No, God no.
Not even close. I think it's a very fine. It's there because it's the bait. They took the bait for the nomination, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
I mean. Is Tom Hanks up for Best Actor?
I can't remember.
That would maybe be worth it because it's a good performance, but I don't know if there's enough of it still.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough of it either.
I mean, we covered already. We don't think Streep should be in the running for Best Actress.
No.
I definitely don't think Best Pick. I mean, I get the token nomination, but I definitely don't think it should be seriously considered, even though I do like it a lot.
Yeah, I feel like some of the Oscar bait movies, they feel like they have a very similar tone and vibe. Like, this feels like an Oscar movie, and that's not necessarily good or it's not necessarily bad. It's just kind of what it is. It fits.
No, it is. It's like there's that indie drama feel to some movies where you go, that's an indie drama. This is that's an Oscar movie.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's not as exciting as some other options. It's like I say, it's very dependable. It's good, but it's not great. I mean, I liked it a bit more than I thought I would actually, because I was kind of going thinking I was going to be bored and I was going to be, and I wasn't, because it's well done enough that you kind of get into the heart of the story and the chase, and because it is very relevant, it's hard not to kind of like, yeah, screw you, like government, like assholes.
You might as well have just said it. Screw you, Trump.
Yeah, screw you, Trump. Yeah, why not?
You paused and it was like, no, just say it.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, it goes without saying, doesn't it? He's wanting to throw himself.
You'd think, but here's a whole movie saying it.
He's wanting to throw himself at parade or something just now. I don't even know what's going on anymore. But like, yeah, ultimately, I can't praise it that highly. And this is actually a fairly short review, but I don't think I have much more to add about it.
No, that's fair. It's quite a straightforward movie.
Yeah, it's fine to good, and that's okay. But I would not sing any sort of praises about it or anything else.
That's fair.
I am whelmed.
Very good.
Not underwhelmed, not overwhelmed, just whelmed.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah. That is a reference to Young Justice, the animated series, if you didn't get that. But also accurate in terms of my feelings here. Anything else you want to add before we rate it?
I really don't think there is, because I feel like there's not much more to add at this point. Everything's very good, but it's not mind-blowing.
Yeah. What are you rating it then, out of 10?
I'm going to give it an 8, just because everything that it does to such a high standard. I can't give it any more because I don't love it, but it's too good in terms of just the way it's made for me to say it's just a 7. For me, at least.
It's just a 7 for me.
So I knew you were going to say that, which is why I added that at the
end. No, it's a 7. It's good. I think it's great. I think it's completely reliable, solid filmmaking, but it's nothing special, and I probably will never watch it again.
That's fair. And that's the thing, even though I give it an 8, there's many movies that are 8s that I say, I probably won't watch it again, even though I think it's an 8 out of 10. And 8 out of 10 is not enough for Best Picture. It's just not.
Unless it's a weak year.
Any year, really.
Unless it's a very weak year where there's not a lot
It would have to be a pretty shit year for that to be the top of the the top of the crop.
But hey ho, so that is the post. So by all means, let us know what you think of the movie in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a description in there's a link in the description, rather. I was going to say there's a description in the link. That's,
that'd be a long link.
Yeah, that's not what I meant. And obviously Spielberg's got Ready Player One out in a few months' time, so we get a sci-fi Spielberg movie for the first time in a while.
Cautiously excited.
I'm not excited for Ready Player One. I hope
I'm
it's
excited
good.
By the concept more than I hope it's good. What I've seen of it.
However, everything I see about it makes me think and this is including the book. All the story is hey, you recognise this thing, be happy, over and over again.
I'm probably going to read the book in the next couple of weeks, so I'll know if that's what it's supposed to be or if that's what the movie just gives me.
And yeah, there might be like a loose justification for it. Whereas, it's all about, nostalgia and pop culture, and that's why it's all these references. But I still feel like it looks like it's going to rely on it, and I feel like some people are going to love it because of that. I feel like it might be actually missing the meat that it's required to actually
that's fair.
do what with it. So I as much as I get giddy at seeing a DeLorean and seeing the Iron Giant and whatever else,
it's not enough to do a whole movie on, is it? That'll sustain you for 5 minutes, not 2.5 hours.
It is potentially the cinematic equivalent of dangling like shiny keys in front of a baby. Look at the shiny. Look at the shiny. It's the equivalent of that. So potentially, I've not seen it yet, obviously, because now.
We get the scoops.
Yeah, but when it does come out, that is what my main concern is, and I think it may be a bit bloated as well because it does look like it's going to be a long movie, and so on.
I don't know if we've got a running time for it yet, but I feel like it's going to be longer than it should be just to fit in all the cameos.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, obviously, I hope it's good. I'm not like super down on it, but I have a feeling that I can see where it's going to fall into the giant pit.
Yeah, it looks very, very CG heavy.
Yes, and not in a very sort of obvious way, because obviously Pacific Rim 2, for example, is coming out. That's obviously have a lot of CG in it, but it looks good. It looks bright and colourful, and it's like big robots in the city.
Yeah.
Whereas there's like an orc character in Ready Player One who just looks like a CG thing from like one of the Hobbit movies that also look bad.
It's from the Warcraft movie, right?
Is it?
I don't know, but that's what it looks like. Looks exactly the same to me.
Sure, yeah, go with it.
Which is again not a compliment.
Oh, absolutely. So, but hey, no, I was actually thinking about what movies I'm anticipating, because obviously there's some that I'm just not. Like, I'm not anticipating Solo. I'm not anticipating Ready Player One, or Slender Man. To pick a horror movie. But what I am anticipating, Mute, which is coming soon, Annihilation. I'm anticipating The Predator. I mentioned Pacific Rim 2. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I really like the first one.
Jurassic World.
I like Jurassic World. I'm looking forward to the second one. What else am I looking forward to this year?
That's a good question.
I'm sure there's a couple of things.
I feel like if you asked me last year, I could have rolled off like 10 things I was looking forward to in the next year. Like for last year, not during last year.
No. A Quiet Place. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, okay. That looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. As for the superhero movies, we'll see how they go. Black Panther's getting great buzz. So
yeah, there's a lot this year, and there's none that I'm like, oh, I want to see that. I'll end up seeing most, if not all of them, because obviously. Mm-hmm. But there's none that I'm going, oh, looking forward to that one.
Yeah. So anyway, that was just squeezing in there before I say goodbye. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys, and we'll see you next time.